You are listening to Rouge Radio, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
It's time to get the point as Rouge Radio is ready to kick off.
Ready!
The best football talk with the best in the business.
So what is the cost? You have 2 first-round picks this year because the Argos were dumb enough to trade for Drew Willie.
A few rookies.
We go directly to the on-field product. We welcome to the show the 20th overall pick in this past Sunday's CFL draft, DeAndre Wright of the Alouettes. DeAndre, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
And the occasional Hall of Famer.
Please welcome Doug Brown, who is one of the members of the current class of 2016 in the CFL Hall of Fame. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you guys for the kind words and for having me on the program.
Rouge Radio is on the air. Here's your hosts, Robert Dalton and Tony Allen.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rouge Radio podcast, powered by the Canadian Football Podcast Network. My name is Robert Dalton. We've given the booth announcer the month off. We'll wait to break out Irv until the regular season comes out. We are sponsored by the good people over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Tell them the guys at Rouge Radio sent you by entering the promo code Rouge, and you get 20% off your order plus free worldwide shipping, as they always do. Go to Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. You know what? This is kind of complicated. Not really complicated because you just told me that you were a huge Toronto Maple Leaf fans. We're talking off the air, and we might just end this show early.
Yeah.
This is a CFL podcast where we are previewing and continuing the 9 teams in 9 weeks. And today we are focusing on the Calgary Stampeders, and we'll get to that just in a moment. But first, it kind of struck me. You were talking about going to, I can't remember what the guy's name was, Osgood, Chris Osgood's kid, drafted to the Medicine Hat Tigers. And it just dawned on me, because it usually was like when I was in my 20s, you had some kids coming in who were kids of legends. Like I think when I was 8, Mark Howell, Gordie Howe's kid. And granted, he was probably playing for a few years before I even started watching hockey. Now we're witnessing freaking Max Domi's kid lighting it up. I mean, he's been in the NHL for a few years, close to a decade now, if not more.
Shane Doan's kid,
drafted by the franchise that Shane had only played with, and now you're talking about Chris Osgood's kid getting drafted to the Medicine Hat Tigers. Does that not age you out?
It feels a little bit. And here's the funny thing is, there's players that you figure were old and had old enough kids, but the Medicine Hat Tigers have Chris Osgood's kid now, which, if you don't know your junior hockey, Chris Osgood is a former Medicine Hat Tiger legend himself. So, no pressure, kid. You're just coming into where your dad dominated. So good luck with that. We've got Luke Warner, Rhett Warner's kid. I don't know if you remember Rhett Warner.
I remember Rhett.
Buffalo Sabres, Calgary Flames fame, and we also have Alex Ald's kid in our system too. So
does that count like a unceremonious name drop there? Alex Ald. I mean, it's not a CFL player, but man,
last year we had Ryder Ritchie, who was Ritchie. You know which one? Who's Byron Ritchie's kid?
Ritchie, yeah.
So, which first makes me ask, how does Byron Ritchie and Max Domi sire such talented hockey players? Because, I mean, let's be honest.
Okay.
I mean, the what is it? Only the Western Hockey League's like 3rd exceptional player status went to Landon DuPont, Mickey DuPont's son. How does Mickey DuPont sire underage eligible exceptional draft pick status in the Western Hockey League? So you can never tell.
Which should probably just, maybe we could venture a little investigation to see if Gavin McKenna's dad was...
No, I don't think so. But I did go to a game when Seattle was in town, the Thunderbirds, and George Larocque's kid's on that team. So the former NHLer kids are starting to come up everywhere now.
So if you fought in the 2000s, chances are your kid will be a perennial 20 to 30 goal scorer in the NHL.
There you go.
All right, on that note, hey, we got a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback in regarding to, I guess, our tiresome talk about the new playoff format. A lot of positive feedback on that. Is there any more? Have you had a chance to let that breathe?
Yeah, my opinion hasn't changed, and I've taken the time to, read some of the stuff put out by some of the fans who are positive about it. And I mean, you need both sides of it, right? Like, and my thing is I feel like I'm just as guilty of being one of those raw CFL supporters. There was always a bright side. There was always a good side. And I mean, obviously in something like this is something I don't want to be right on. Like, I don't say what I say because I want to be right. I feel like I'm right. I feel like I'm justified, but I most definitely don't want to be right. And the only things that ever really irk me, but I never comment on them, are, it's that attitude of, if you're going to leave, you were never a good fan anyways. It's like, you're going to say that to me? You're going to tell me that, you're just not a good fan to start with then? Like, that, I guess so, but I mean, you can't call me that just because I disagree. Like, there's people everywhere overboard. There's those guys that say fans are leaving in droves, and they're not. I get it. People are exaggerating to make their point, but there is fans leaving. Like, you can't argue. Like there is going to be fans that will leave.
Listen, there were fans.
You can't make that argument that's like, you can't prove anyone is leaving. I'm like, but you can't prove anyone's joining. Like, and I've even thought about the argument we have where, it's such a revenue builder, and it's like, from who? We're struggling to get people back. They're not coming back in droves. Who are we generating revenue from? And I don't want to go through it all again because I can feel it wanting to come out again, and we talked about it, but it's like, you're trying to build off of a success you haven't even achieved yet, but are assuming you will because you did it. So again, it's like all those people are like, the CFL could really learn from the XFL, a league that failed 3 times. It's like, well, here you go. This looks like something the XFL would do to generate more fans. I think we might just be a season away from watching the foot race for the ball to determine who gets the opening kickoff. I feel like the way this team's, this feels like everything the XFL would do to generate revenue and viewership, and that's a league that failed 3 times. And it feels like we are every marketing genius behind the XFL was involved in this planning. And we know how the XFL. Anyways, I'm done with that. I just shouldn't keep going because I'm going to repeat myself more.
What's funny is that you mentioned that you're going on. It's like, well, okay, if you've been a fan of 20 years, then you're leaving. Well, you're never really a fan.
No.
It's funny. It kind of like triggered a segue. It's like the Fast and the Furious franchise. It's like the first Fast and the Furious movie, really good. Second one, okay, maybe not so good. Third one, okay, it was decent. And then, they introduced more characters, and then the fifth one, okay, perfect. And then they decided to make 6, 7, 8, 9, the cars in space. And then they're in production apparently to make an 11th one. So it's like eventually, like, if you stop watching that, is that like legitimately saying that you weren't a fan of the first movie? No, that's just it's just like you have your limits, right? I mean, it's everybody has their threshold when it comes to what are they going to support? What are they like? What is their limit?
Exactly.
And speaking of fast, we go to Quick Six. Is that the horse's name in Calgary? Quick Six.
It's had several. There's been several horses over the years.
Yeah. They weren't doing a lot of touchdowns in 2024, but that vastly improved in 2025. The Calgary Stampeders finished last year at 11-7, good for third in the. And you bring up Vernon Adams Jr. in that horrible jersey.
Gorgeous. I dare you to tell me there's not a better looking jersey. I dare you to tell me there's a better looking jersey in the CFL than that. You can't.
Well, there's about 8 other teams, fan bases that can just prove you otherwise there. The Stampeders 11-7 at home, 488 points for, 416 points against, 6-3 at home, which means that they were 5-4 on the road. Gone is they had Damien Alford as far as guys going to the NFL, same with Jalen Hutchins, and I want to say that they lost another one, but I can't really remember off the top of my head. And I was doing these notes for today's show, and I couldn't find it, and I was like, am I overthinking things? Because I know that they lost the third person, but they also didn't gain a lot of people. Going in Dijon Brissett, a All-Canadian receiver coming over from the Toronto Argonauts. But the main thing that they did, and we talked about this in previous shows, is the fact that they re-signed some key guys. Adrian Green, defensive back, who had a very impressive year last year, and Derek Moncrief. Tony, I know this is your team. Try to make it short. And here's the thing. We all are probably awaiting Vernon Adams Jr. to have that 5 days or 5 game stretch. It might not be consecutive, but it's inevitable. 5 games where either A, he's hurt, or he's just not vibing. And now, amongst the people that we did mention is PJ Walker, who was sent to the retired list, who announced his retirement a couple of weeks ago. There's a huge question mark. I mean, there was a question mark with PJ Walker enough as it was, and now that he's not there, it's a huge question mark. It's kind of like go big or go home when it comes to Vernon Adams Jr. Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's absolutely fair. Like if this team didn't live and die by Vernon Adams Jr. before, it is magnified right now. I don't know. Maybe there's a diamond in the rough waiting in training camp, and I don't know if you were doing your full Stampeder preview. I don't want to hijack it, but because I'm here, if there was any subtraction from the Calgary Stampeders that was the biggest, I think it's John Hufnagel. He's not protecting Dave Dickinson anymore. And I know right now there's a Stampeders fan going, oh, here we go again. Tony's about to go off on Dave Dickinson. And you are correct. But he's not there to protect Dave Dickinson anymore. Even when he was a silent, secret advisor in the background, Dave Dickinson still had that John Hufnagel safety net.
Crutch.
But he's gone now. And now we're going to see probably the full first off season fully directed and guided by Dave Dickinson. And over the years, I've already said, we've seen this talent pool dwindle year after year. There's no more magical cabinet full of receivers that John Hufnagel used to go into and pull out another 1,000-yard receiver. We don't see Dave Dickinson doing this, and now he's got to try and build this team completely on their own. And to even make it sadder, his only help is his brother Craig Dickinson. So I'm not happy from that side. I think I have been on the get rid of Dave Dickinson soapbox for several years now. And if it does go south, I think this is the year where you finally say, okay, maybe this guy is not the mastermind of football like we thought he was. But we'll see. But I mean, I don't know if we're going to be horrible. I really don't. And it will be an interesting season for the Calgary Stampeders. I don't know what. Maybe I've been drinking tonight. Maybe there's, some chemical that's been released into this hotel. But I don't feel that worried about this season. I don't think we're going to have a 15-3 season. I don't even think we're going to have, like something like 10-8 maybe season. And that might be shooting for the stars with the Calgary Stampeders. I don't think it's going to be a bad season. We're trying to rebound. They're trying to put a team together. Vernon Adams Jr. is obviously going to be the keystone of this whole thing, and maybe we'll finally get the year from him that we hope. Maybe Dave Dickinson brings in a quarterback. Maybe we have to run out and make a trade or sign an older veteran quarterback somewhere that maybe has been out of the league for a season or two. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a parade season for the Calgary Stampeders. I think it's just going to be a good development year. I'm ready to take whatever the Calgary Stampeders can offer because I don't think they're a team trending downwards. I think they're a team more trying to find what direction they're going to go to and how.
All right. With that being said, you have a final prediction. 10-8, assuming.
I'll give them 10-8. I'll give them a 10-8. They're a 10-8 team.
It's funny. Well, first off, I want to talk about you're talking about how Dave used John Nagel as a crutch.
Safety net.
The safety net.
Safety net. Not a crutch.
And you know what clip really flashed in my head was the Drew Tate. Remember
when he threw him under the bus?
Yeah, he's like
Dave makes a call. Dave.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, it's kind of like just using that safety net, right? Like that I would say like a crutch almost. And now everything lands on Dave, and you could see the trajectory of that Stampeders team post-COVID. It was going down. He would just, if it wasn't for BC in 2021 and Edmonton being Edmonton for those past couple of years, Calgary could have been on the outside looking in a little bit earlier. They waited until they actually missed the playoffs before making a big Hail Mary trade to acquire Vernon Adams. And I'm thinking, Vernon Adams is 33 now. I could be wrong. He might be a little bit older than that, but Vernon Adams hasn't had that plateau season. He was really good in 2023. But
CFL quarterbacks don't even peak till they're like 37.
But
I'm only partially joking.
Yeah. But you look at it and you're thinking, okay, well, the depth behind Vernon Adams is not great. So automatically you're thinking, Calgary's just going to suck this year. That's going to go back, and Dave Dickinson is going to he's going to go back to the drawing board, and he's just going to be forced out. Right? This is going to be the year that Dave Dickinson, this is his last year coaching in the CFL, at least with Calgary. And then you go back and realize, okay, well, you know what? That offensive line's still somewhat intact, decent. They were very good last year. Dedrick Mills, very good last year. Led the league in rushing. Defensively, still somewhat intact. Clarence Hicks, probably one of the best defensive players last year. If they happen to get Jalen Hutchins back from the NFL at a key time, watch out. And the key thing, I don't think I didn't mention it, but Tyreek McAllister, former of the Hamilton Tiger Cats return specialist, coming up north again, signs with Calgary a couple weeks ago. That gives Calgary a boost to the return game that I don't think that they've had in quite some time. Reggie Begelton, still a year older. That he's had some inconsistent seasons, last couple of years. But again, I think Damien Alford kind of hit that, giving him another 1-2 punch. But they've managed to find at least some capable backup or background receivers, just to accommodate that air attack. I don't think that they are going to be bad like you thought. I'm not going to say that they're going to be a sub-500 team, but somewhere between 10-8 and 99 seems to be very apropos, because it really depends on what Vernon Adams Jr. does. And if he can play the entire 18-game season with the 5-game safety net, where we've kind of expected that he's going to fall back a little bit around September, then 99 seems to be 10-8 seems to be within reach. But 99, I don't think that they got better. I think that there are some teams in that Western Division that did get better that can easily take a game or two that they weren't able to take in 2025. So with that being said, my final prediction is, I'll stick with a 99 record for the Calgary Stampeders for 2026. As before we exit the show, I'll let you know that we are partnered with the good people over at Sports Interaction. Go to sia.com/rouge. Your first deposit will be matched up to 100%. And again, as we always do, play and gamble responsibly. I apologize in post-editing if the sound is not exactly up to snuff. We're trying to figure it out where this is the best that we can get it. Tony, any final thoughts?
If you can believe it, 12 days till our first CFL game. It's preseason, but 12 days.
Yeah. As
of this recording.
I looked at the schedule that we have. Next week is the BC Lions, and then after that are the two Grey Cups finalists. And I'm like thinking, wow, we're almost there. We're good. We're so there. We are so back. Mm-hmm. CFL in 2026 is so here, and I cannot wait. Who's waiting for what we can see about the BC Lions next week? For Tony, I'm Daltz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.